My name is Sarah, and I am here to tell you a story. This is not just my story, it's about many people like you and me. It's about the little moments in life, the struggles, the tears, and how learning English can change everything. There was once a boy named Ariel. He lived in a small town. He was a shy boy, always quiet in school. He felt alone sometimes. He wanted to make friends but didn't know how to talk to them. He thought, maybe they don't like me, but really he was just afraid to speak. One day, Ariel met a girl named Emma. She was kind, always smiling. She said, "Hi, my name is Emma." "What's your name?" Ariel was so nervous. He wanted to say something clever but just said, Ariel. Emma smiled and said, "Nice to meet you, Ariel." That day, Ariel realized talking was not so hard. Emma loved to read. She always had a book in her hand. One day, she gave Ariel a book. She said, "Read this. It's in English. You will love it." Ariel took the book, but he was scared. His English was not so good. He tried to read but did not understand much. He felt sad. Ariel went home, looked in the mirror, and said, "I can do this. I will learn English. I will not give up every day." He read a little. Sometimes it was hard, and he wanted to cry, but he remembered Emma's smile. He wanted to talk to her more. He wanted to be her friend. Learning English is not easy. Many people feel shy, like Ariel. They feel afraid to make mistakes. But making mistakes is okay. It is part of learning. Even if you say the wrong word, it is okay. People will still understand you if you try. Ariel's father, Robert, saw his son trying so hard. He said, "Son, I am proud of you. Keep going. You will do great things." Ariel's eyes were full of tears. He said, "Thank you, Dad." Those words gave him strength. He knew he was not alone. Sometimes learning a new language feels like climbing a big mountain. The top is so far, and you are tired. But step by step, you get closer, and when you look back, you see how far you have come. Ariel's steps were small, but they were strong. One day, Ariel wrote a letter to Emma in English. It was not perfect, but it was from his heart. He wrote, "Dear Emma, thank you for being my friend. You helped me a lot. I am learning English because of you." When Emma read the letter, she had tears in her eyes. She said, "Ariel, this is the best letter I ever got." Emma and Ariel became best friends. They helped each other. Emma told him, "Every time you learn a new word, your world gets bigger." She was right. Ariel's world was growing. He could talk to more people now. He felt happy. One day, Ariel met a new boy named Daniel. Daniel was just like Ariel before. He was shy and quiet. Ariel walked up to him and said, "Hi, I'm Ariel. Do you want to be friends?" Daniel smiled, and Ariel knew he made a difference. Ariel learned that English is not just a language. It is a way to open hearts. It is a way to make new friends. He knew that every time he spoke, he was telling the world, "I am here, and I want to know you." When you learn English, you do not just learn words, you learn to share your feelings. You learn to say, "I am happy," or "I am sad." You learn to tell someone, "I love you," or "I miss you." It is the language of feelings. Ariel's mom, Olivia, once told him, "When I was young, I was afraid too. But I learned English, and it made my life better. Now I can talk to people from all over the world." Ariel listened to his mom's words, and he felt hope. He knew that one day he would also talk to the world. Every word Ariel learned was like a small light in the dark. Sometimes he made mistakes, sometimes he felt silly. But he never stopped. He knew that every mistake was a lesson. He was learning, growing, and becoming stronger. One day, Ariel stood in front of his class. He had to speak in English. He felt scared, but he remembered his dad's words, his mom's story, and Emma's smile. He took a deep breath and said, "Hello, my name is Ariel, and I want to tell you my story." The class was quiet. They listened to every word. Ariel spoke slowly, but his words were clear. He said, "I was afraid to speak. I was afraid to make friends. But now I know that English is my friend. It helps me every day." When Ariel finished, the class clapped. They all stood up and cheered. Ariel felt his heart beat fast. He looked at Emma, and she gave him a thumbs up. He knew that he was not the same shy boy anymore. He was a new Ariel. Tears of joy filled his eyes. He thought of all the times he wanted to give up, but now he was here, standing tall. He knew that his journey was not over. He still had more to learn, more to say, but he was not afraid anymore. English was his friend, it was his light. It helped him find his voice, and with that voice, he could tell his story to the world. If you ever feel afraid, like Ariel, remember that it is okay to feel this way. Learning is a journey. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Keep going, one word at a time. You are not alone, we all learn together. And now I ask you to think about your own story. What are your dreams? What do you want to say to the world? Let English help you find your voice. Let it be your friend, just like it was for Ariel. I will continue this story if you want to hear more. Tell me your thoughts. What part of the story touched your heart? Let's keep talking, let's keep learning, and let's keep growing together. Ariel's journey with English was just beginning, and each day brought new lessons and challenges. He was learning to be patient with himself, even when the words seemed hard to say. One evening, Ariel was sitting on his bed, looking at the book Emma had given him. He opened it to the first page, feeling a little nervous, but this time he did not feel alone. He felt the support of Emma, his parents, and even Daniel, the new friend he had made. As Ariel read the book, he remembered the first time he tried to read in English. He remembered the confusion and the feeling of wanting to give up. But now, the words seemed clearer, he could understand more, and it made him smile. He knew that every small step he took was bringing him closer to his goal. One day, Ariel's teacher, Mrs. Charlotte, asked him to read a paragraph from the book in front of the class. Ariel felt his hands shake a little. He looked around the room and saw Emma and Daniel smiling at him. He took a deep breath and started to read. His voice was soft at first, but as he continued, he grew more confident. He felt the words flow, and he saw the amazed looks on his classmates' faces. After he finished reading, the class was silent for a moment, and then they all clapped. Mrs. Charlotte said, "Ariel, you have come so far. I am so proud of you." Ariel felt his eyes fill with tears, not because he was sad, but because he was happy. He never thought he could do it, but he did. He looked at Emma and whispered, "Thank you." Emma nodded and said, "See, I told you, Ariel. You are amazing." Ariel smiled, feeling like he could do anything. He learned that when you believe in yourself, nothing is impossible. One day, as they were walking home, Emma asked Ariel, "Why do you want to learn English so much?" Ariel thought for a moment and said, "I want to learn because I want to talk to people from all over the world. I want to hear their stories and tell them mine. I don't want to feel small or afraid anymore. Emma smiled and said, "That's a beautiful reason, Ariel. English is a key. It opens doors to so many places, to so many hearts." Ariel nodded, understanding that English was more than just a subject in school. It was a way to connect with the world, to make friends, and to make dreams come true. Ariel's mom, Olivia, had a small flower shop in the town. She loved to talk to the customers, but sometimes they spoke in English, and she felt shy. Ariel decided to help his mom. He said, "Mom, let's practice together. We can learn new words every day." Olivia's eyes were filled with love. She said, "Thank you, Ariel. You are my little teacher." They would sit together in the evenings, practicing simple sentences. Olivia felt proud of her son, and Ariel felt proud of himself. He knew that English was not just helping him, it was helping his family too. He could see how learning one language could change so many lives. One day, Ariel's dad, Robert, came home from work looking tired. He had a hard day and felt stressed. Ariel said, "Dad, can I tell you a story?" Robert nodded, and Ariel started telling him a story in English. It was a simple story, but it made Robert smile. He said, "Ariel, you are amazing. Your words make my day better." Ariel realized that English was not just about learning new words, it was about how you use those words to make someone feel special. It was about sharing love, kindness, and hope. One rainy day, Ariel was sitting alone, watching the raindrops on the window. He thought about all the times he felt like giving up. He remembered the days when he thought he would never be good enough. But now, he knew that every struggle made him stronger. He learned that sometimes you have to believe in yourself even when no one else does. As he sat there, he thought about his friends. He thought about Emma, who always believed in him. He thought about Daniel, who found a friend in him. He thought about his parents, who never stopped supporting him. He knew that he was not alone in this journey. Ariel decided that he wanted to help others who were like him. He wanted to tell them, it's okay to be afraid, it's okay to make mistakes. Just don't stop trying. He knew that the real lesson was not in speaking perfect English, but in never giving up. One day, Ariel met a little girl named Mia. She was sitting alone in the park, looking sad. Ariel walked up to her and said, "Hi, I'm Ariel." "What's your name?" Mia looked up, her eyes filled with tears. She said, "My name is Mia. I don't have friends. I'm not good at English." Ariel smiled and sat next to her. He said, "I wasn't good at English either. I was shy, just like you. But I learned one word at a time. I made mistakes, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to try." Mia looked at Ariel and asked, "Will you help me?" Ariel nodded and said, "Of course, Mia. We will learn together." They started to practice simple words and sentences. Every time Mia got a word right, Ariel would clap and say, "You did it, Mia. I'm so proud of you." Mia's face lit up with a big smile. She said, "Thank you, Ariel. You make me feel happy." Ariel felt his heart fill with joy. He knew that helping others learn was the best gift he could give. As Ariel walked home that day, he thought about how far he had come. He remembered the days when he felt lost, afraid, and alone. But now he was different. He was not just learning English, he was teaching it too. He was giving others the courage to believe in themselves. Learning English had changed Ariel's life. It had helped him find his voice, make friends, and help others. It was not just about speaking a language, it was about opening hearts and minds. It was about making the world a better place, one word at a time. And this is where I pause for now, but this story doesn't have to end. Let's keep it going. What are your thoughts? What words have helped you on your journey? Share your story, and let's continue to learn and grow together. As the days went by, Ariel felt stronger with each step he took on his English learning journey. His heart was filled with a new kind of joy, a joy that came from seeing not only his own progress, but also the progress of those he was helping. He knew that learning wasn't just about understanding words. It was about finding the courage to keep going, even when it was hard. One evening, as Ariel was studying in his room, he thought about all the little moments that had brought him here. He remembered the first time he met Emma and how she had opened a door for him with a simple smile. He thought of his father's kind words that gave him strength when he wanted to quit, and his mother's gentle encouragement when they practiced together. He realized that every person in his life was like a light that guided him through the darkness of doubt. Ariel wanted to help even more people, so he decided to start a small English club at his school. He told his friends, "Let's make a place where everyone can learn and practice English together. It doesn't matter if you're good or not, we are all here to help each other." Emma, Daniel, and even Shai and Mia joined his club. Soon other students came too, like Ava, George, and Sophia. They all wanted to learn, just like Ariel. In the club, they played games in English, told stories, and laughed at their mistakes. Sometimes, they would even act out little plays to practice speaking. One day, during one of their meetings, Mia stood up in front of everyone. She said, "I used to be so scared to speak in English, but now, with all of you, I feel brave. Thank you, Ariel, for helping me believe in myself." Ariel's eyes filled with tears as he saw the smile on Mia's face. He knew that this was the real meaning of learning. One cold winter afternoon, Ariel saw his friend Joseph sitting alone on the school steps, looking sad. Ariel walked over and asked, "What's wrong, Joseph?" Joseph sighed and said, "I can't do it, Ariel. English is too hard for me. I keep making mistakes, and I feel like I'll never get it right." Ariel put his hand on Joseph's shoulder and said, "Joseph, I used to feel the same way. I thought I would never get better. But you know what? Mistakes are just part of the journey. Each mistake you make is one step closer to getting it right." Joseph looked up and asked, "Do you really think I can do it?" Ariel smiled and said, "I know you can, and I'll be right here to help you." As the days passed, Joseph started to join the English club. He practiced speaking with the others and soon began to see his own progress. He still made mistakes, but now he wasn't afraid of them. He knew that every time he tried, he was getting a little bit better. One day, Ariel got a letter from his teacher, Mrs. Charlotte. She wrote, "Dear Ariel, I have seen how much you have grown. Not only have you learned English, but you have also inspired so many others to learn with you. I am proud of you, and I want you to keep shining like the bright star you are." Ariel held the letter close to his heart. He knew that this was just the beginning of his journey. As the seasons changed, so did Ariel. He was no longer the shy boy who was afraid to speak. He was a leader, a friend, and a helper. His English club became a safe place for anyone who wanted to learn. People from different classes and grades joined in, and they all felt like a big family. One sunny day, the club decided to put on a small play in English for the whole school. They wrote the script together, practicing their lines over and over. Everyone was nervous, especially Mia, who had the biggest part in the play. She said to Ariel, "What if I forget my lines? What if I make a mistake?" Ariel took her hand and said, "Mia, even if you make a mistake, we will all be here to catch you. You are not alone. Just speak from your heart, and everything will be okay." The day of the play came, and everyone was excited. As they stood on the stage, Ariel could see the nervous faces of his friends. He whispered, "We've got this. Just remember, we are here to have fun and share our story." And when Mia started to speak her lines, she did it with so much confidence and joy that everyone in the audience clapped and cheered. After the play, as they took their bows, Ariel looked at his friends and felt warmth in his heart. He knew that English was not just a language they learned, it was the bridge that brought them all together. It was the key that unlocked their hearts, allowing them to connect in a way they never thought possible. When they all gathered after the play, Emma gave Ariel a big hug. She said, "Look at what you have done, Ariel. You have helped all of us find our voices. You taught us that learning is not just about getting things right, it's about being brave enough to try." Ariel knew that his journey was far from over. There were still so many words to learn, so many stories to tell, and so many people to help. But he also knew that he would never be alone on this journey. He had his friends, his family, and a whole world of people who were learning just like him. As he walked home that evening, he looked up at the sky and thought about all the people out there who might be afraid to speak, afraid to learn. He wished he could tell each one of them, "Don't be scared. You are not alone. We are all learning together, one word at a time," and this is where I pause again. But the story isn't over. What about your story? Have you ever felt like Ariel or Mia, afraid to speak or to make mistakes? I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this story going. Let's share our dreams and struggles, and let's keep learning and growing one word at a time. Tell me what part of the story touched your heart, and let's continue this journey together. As Ariel continued his journey, he found that the most beautiful part of learning was sharing it with others. The English Club had become more than just a place to learn. It was a place where everyone felt safe, where they could laugh at their mistakes and celebrate their progress. It was where friendships were made, not just through words but through understanding and kindness. One rainy afternoon, Ariel saw a new face in the English Club. It was a girl named Amelia. She was sitting quietly at the back of the room, her eyes looking down at her notebook. Ariel noticed that her hands were shaking a little, and he knew that feeling all too well. He walked up to her with a gentle smile and said, "Hi, I'm Ariel. What's your name?" Amelia looked up, her eyes full of doubt, and said softly, "My name is Amelia. I don't think I'm good enough to be here. My English is really bad." Ariel remembered the day he first met Emma and how he felt the same way. He said to Amelia, "You know, I used to feel just like you. I was scared and thought I would never be good at English. But then I learned that it's okay to make mistakes." That's how we learn. Amelia's eyes softened a little, and she said, "Really? You were scared too?" Ariel nodded and replied, "Yes, I was. But look at me now. I'm not perfect, but I'm not afraid anymore. And you don't have to be afraid either. We're all here to help each other." Amelia started coming to the club regularly. Little by little, she began to speak more, to share her thoughts, and even to laugh at her own mistakes. She became friends with Mia and Daniel, and together they helped each other with new words and sentences. Ariel watched as Amelia's confidence grew. and he felt proud knowing that he had helped someone else find their voice. One day, the English club decided to do something special. They wanted to write letters to kids in another country who were also learning English. The idea excited everyone, and they all sat down to write letters about their lives, their dreams, and the things they loved. Ariel wrote in his letter, "Hello, my name is Ariel. I used to be afraid to speak in English, but now I'm not. I have friends who help me, and I want to help you too. Remember, you are never alone in this journey." When the letters were sent, Ariel and his friends waited eagerly for the replies. A few weeks later, they received letters back from kids in a faraway place. One letter was from a boy named Arthur, who wrote, "Thank you, Ariel, for your kind words. I was scared too, but now I feel like I have a friend who understands me. Let's keep learning together." Ariel realized that his words had traveled across the world, touching the heart of someone he had never met. He knew then that English was not just about speaking, it was about connecting. It was about breaking down the walls between people, no matter where they lived or what language they spoke. One night, Ariel sat at his desk thinking about everything that had happened. He thought of all the people who had helped him: Emma with her smile, his dad's encouragement, his mom's patience, Mrs. Charlotte's kind words, and his friends in the English club. He knew that he could not have done it alone. Every person had added a piece to his story. As he looked out the window at the stars, he thought of something his dad, Robert, once said. "When you help someone learn, you don't just teach them words, you give them wings to fly." Ariel felt that his wings were getting stronger every day. He wasn't flying alone, he was lifting others with him. The next day at the English club, Ariel stood up in front of everyone. He said, "I want all of you to know something. You are all amazing. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes or if you are afraid sometimes. What matters is that you try. What matters is that you never give up." The room was quiet for a moment, and then everyone started clapping. Alia had tears in her eyes, and she said, "Thank you, Ariel, for believing in us, even when we didn't believe in ourselves." Ariel's heart was full of emotion. He knew that this was the best part of his journey, seeing the smiles, the courage, and the hope in his friends' eyes. Ariel's journey was far from over, but he was not afraid anymore. He knew that every day was a chance to learn something new, to make a new friend, and to help someone else find their voice. He knew that English was more than just words, it was a bridge that connected people, hearts, and dreams. As Ariel walked home that evening, he thought about all the people out there who might still be afraid to speak, who might think they are not good enough. He wished he could tell each one of them, "You are not alone. We are all in this together, one word at a time." And so, the story goes on. What about your story? Do you have a dream you are afraid to speak about? Are there words you wish you could say but don't know how? Share your thoughts with me. Let's keep this journey alive. Let's learn from each other, and let's continue to grow together. The story doesn't end here, it is only just beginning. Tell me what you think, and let's write the next chapter of our journey together. As Ariel continued his journey, he found new ways to make learning English even more fun and creative. He started bringing small objects to the English club, like toys, pictures, and colorful cards to help his friends understand new words. They played games with these objects, turning each lesson into an adventure. Laughter filled the room as they learned, and no one was afraid of making mistakes anymore. One day, a new boy named John joined the English club. John was quiet and kept his head down, not saying much. Ariel could see the worry in his eyes. He knew that look. It was the same one he used to have when he first started learning English. Ariel went over to John and said, "Hi, I'm Ariel. It's okay if you don't know all the words yet. We're here to help each other." John looked up and gave a small smile, saying, "I'm just scared that everyone will laugh at me." Ariel shook his head and said, "We've all felt that way, John. But here, no one will laugh at you. We're all learning together, and the best part is, when you make a mistake, it just means you're getting closer to getting it right." With Ariel's encouragement, John started to open up. Little by little, he began speaking small words and sentences. His voice was shaky at first, but as days went by, he grew more confident. The other members of the club cheered him on, just like they had done for Ariel. John started to believe in himself, and his smile got bigger every day. Ariel's heart felt so full when he saw John's progress. He realized that helping someone else learn gave him more joy than anything else. It was like planting a small seed and watching it grow into a beautiful tree. He knew that every kind word, every bit of patience, and every smile was like water and sunlight for that little seed. One day, during their English club meeting, they decided to write a poem together. Everyone contributed a line or two, and they laughed as they tried to make the words rhyme. The poem was about their journey in learning English, about their hopes and dreams, and about the friendship they found in each other. Ariel wrote the last line, "We are stronger together, one word at a time." They decided to read their poem in front of the school during the morning assembly. Everyone was nervous, especially Mia, who had to read the first line. She turned to Ariel and whispered, "What if I mess up?" Ariel smiled and whispered back, "Even if you do, it's okay. We're all here to catch you." Mia nodded, took a deep breath, and started to read. As Mia's voice filled the room, Ariel looked around at his friends. He saw Amelia, Daniel, John, and even shy George all standing with him. Each of them had their own story of struggle, their own fear to overcome, but they were standing together, united by their journey. When it was Ariel's turn to read, he felt so much pride and joy that he almost forgot his nervousness. He spoke his lines with all his heart, knowing that they were speaking not just for themselves, but for everyone who had ever been afraid to speak up. When they finished the poem, the entire school cheered. Mrs. Charlotte, their teacher, had tears in her eyes as she clapped the loudest. She said, "You all have shown us that learning is not just about books and tests. It's about courage, friendship, and never giving up." The applause was like music to their ears, and Ariel felt like he was flying. After the assembly, Alia said to Ariel, "I never thought I could stand in front of so many people and speak in English." "Thank you, Ariel, for showing us that we are braver than we think." Ariel smiled and said, "You were always brave, Amelia." You just needed a little reminder. Later that evening, as Ariel sat by his window looking up at the stars, he thought about all the people he had met on his journey. He remembered how he used to be the one who was afraid, the one who felt small and unsure. But now he was the one helping others, lifting them up when they felt down. He knew that his journey was still going, and that there were still so many people out there who needed a friend to believe in them. Ariel remembered something his dad, Robert, once said. "When you share your light with others, you make the whole world a little brighter." Ariel realized that learning English was not just a lesson in school, it was a lesson in life. It taught him how to be kind, how to listen, how to be patient, and how to never give up. One day, Ariel saw a girl named Sophia sitting alone in the schoolyard. She looked lost in her own thoughts, with a tear rolling down her cheek. Ariel walked over and asked softly, "Sophia, are you okay?" Sophia wiped her tear and said, "I'm not good at anything, Ariel. I can't even speak English right." Ariel sat next to her and said, "You know, Sophia, I used to think the same way. I used to think I wasn't good enough. But then I learned that it's not about being perfect, it's about trying, even when it's hard. It's about believing in yourself, even when it's the hardest thing to do." Sophia looked at him with hopeful eyes and asked, "Do you think I can do it?" Ariel nodded and said, "I know you can, and I'll be here to help you every step of the way." As the days went by, Sophia started coming to the English club. She learned to laugh at her mistakes, to celebrate her small victories, and to believe in herself. She became part of their family, and Ariel saw how her smile grew brighter every day. He knew that this was what he was meant to do, to help others find their light, to help them believe in themselves. And as the sun set that evening, Ariel knew that his story was far from over. There were still so many people to help, so many words to learn, and so many hearts to touch. He knew that he was not alone on this journey. He had his friends, his family, and a whole world of people who were learning and growing with him. This story is still going, just like life itself. What about you? Have you ever felt like giving up, like you weren't good enough? Or have you found someone who helped you believe in yourself? I want to hear your story. Let's keep this journey going. Let's learn from each other, and let's keep sharing our light with the world. This is not the end, it's just another chapter. Tell me what's on your heart, and let's write the next part of our story together.